Okay, so let's say you need to call and talk to your mom.
Okay.
Do you call her on the phone or do you have to make it like a FaceTime to feel like you can just talk to her?
Oh, no. I call her on the phone, but there is almost like a timer, almost like a bomb. At the 10-minute mark, it's like my brain goes like, you simply must eject.
It's funny you say 10 minutes. My father, for many, many years, couldn't talk to me on the phone very long before coming up with a reason why he had to get off the phone.
Wait, let me imitate it. I'll be you.
Okay.
So yeah, Dad, I was it's funny. I was walking down the street the other day and I saw someone that looked just like Uncle Pat.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking I got to get to go mowing this lawn before the sun gets down. So
I thought you just mowed the lawn yesterday. You said that yesterday.
And yet it keeps growing, son. So we'll talk to you later. There's always a whelp.
That's so cute.
That's the lead in. And the one time I caught him one time, he wasn't thinking too hard about it. He said, "Whelp, it's been about 10 minutes."
Well, it's been about 10 minutes.
That's what I realized. You can't handle this very long.
You know who really know how to end conversations brilliantly? Therapists.
Oh, they have it down.
They have it down like a science. And I'm sure they took a class. I'm sure in therapist college, there's a class called How to Say Goodbye, and it is like a whole semester.
You think it's like a 300 level course that you get to only when you're pretty sure at this point the graduate's going to go on to the occupation.
Absolutely. And it's all like tricks of the trade. And I noticed that mine gets really quiet and then goes, well, I think we have to stop for today.
Oh, interesting. See, mine does not. Mine does a in summation sort of conclusion.
Oh, interesting. Tell me.
My therapist, Giorgio, is a very muscular, I believe, European sort of man. But either way, he has a very confident and smooth way of talking, Christopher. Yes. See, what you're discussing right now is the thing that we need to work on next week.
Oh, that's smart. I had a therapist. He never said goodbye, and I'd always like leave a little later, and I was like, wow, he really takes the time to like. He doesn't make me feel rushed. But then several times I'd show up to the office and I'd have to wait over an hour.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't know how to shut people down.
He doesn't know how to shut people down. And there's been times where my new therapist is like, I'm sorry I'm late. I had an emergency. And I'm like, oh, she had a patient that was
scary.
Yeah, but I love being her fun patient.
Do you think that's how you show up for people? You think that the way you show up at a party is you're a fun person, but do you think with your therapist you're still concerned about being the fun person?
I am still concerned. I'm concerned that she still needs to really like me, and I know I think that's a pathological problem.
I think that's something to actually discuss in therapy.
Kris and Joanna are close friends with nothing in common. To start a weekly conversation, they ask, "Can I have a word?"
My new therapist, she's like very, very professional and like keeps a very clear distance and is very practical and very clinical.
Okay.
But the other day, she called me sweetie.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, doctor, I think you like me.
You finally got the affection you've been looking for.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, well, that's all I needed. Like, they're not your friend.
Yeah,
they're literally
totally.
your doctor. And I've tried to ask her questions about her life because that's how I get to know people in real life. Like, that's how I disarm is like, I like getting to know people.
Sure.
And can you be me and I'll be her? And just ask me questions.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Okay.
Hello, Joanna.
Oh, so great to see you again, Susie. I don't know her name. I'll just say Susie. Wow, it's been a crazy day. Have you ever just like had one of those days where it's like nothing is happening right for you?
Tell me more.
Well, it's like you walk out the door and suddenly it's like, I stubbed my toe, and then you go and you lock your keys and the others you have to go back in. I mean, like, I don't know. Have you ever just like shown up disheveled? Like, have you done this?
There have been difficult days, but we're here to discuss you. Just so you stubbed your toe.
Yeah, I don't want to talk for the hour about my toe, but I was using it as a hypothetical.
How's your mother?
Oh no.
I'll be like, hey, so Dr. do you have kids? Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. You have to bleep her name.
Yes, I can bleep the name. It's fine.
I'm like, oh, Dr. Bleep, do you have kids? And she's like, maybe I have a couple. I'm like, what does that even mean? Maybe you have a couple.
In high school, we had the politics teacher that would teach you about government econ and things like that. And it was a closely guarded secret what his political affiliation was.
Why, was he anarchist?
No, he was Republican. I come to find out later on, but he never, if you asked as a student, he wouldn't tell you. And to his credit, he was always really good at playing devil's advocate.
That's
and
great.
Like, forcing the issue from the opposite side of wherever you were coming from as the student. But it was like that closely guarded secret that it's like you only found out after graduation or something. You were like, he was a Republican the whole time.
Wow.
But he told me my body was my choice.
Well, that's a brilliant teacher. Also, that's someone whose opinion I feel like I can respect. If he could put himself in other people's shoes and argue, then I feel like that's someone that came to their conclusion with information.
Well, certainly you don't believe them to be holding as much of a bias as somebody who just like plainly believes in their viewpoint and doesn't challenge it at all.
Okay, this conversation got boring. Kris, can I have a word?
Yeah, you sure can. As a reminder, Can I Have a Word is a show where we take a random word from a random word generator and we just talk about it for an hour. And that word is password.
Oh my God, Kris, you're going to make fun of me.
I'm assuming you have some shame to let out here.
Well, I know you, and I know that you have like a little like wallet, like digital wallet where you keep all your passwords and then you like change your passwords, you update your passwords, and you're just kind of like a password nerd. I
am very thorough in my security online. Everything is a random password. I have a password manager app. That is not what I would talk about any further on this podcast because it's certainly boring. But I know that you do not have as thorough a need to secure yourself, despite being far more vulnerable online than I am.
I feel like how I deal with my passwords is still like a vestige of my childhood self.
Okay.
At least I've gotten to the point where I'm changing my passwords frequently and to really difficult passwords.
Okay, break down what difficulty means in your mind.
Like I put like full sentences and then really long like number combinations and then like symbols.
All right.
But then I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anything. So I say I'd spend approximately 15 to 25% of my day trying to log on to websites and failing and having to reset my password.
And then you're just perpetuating the problem because now it's like, okay, I know I need to be good this time. I'll make it a really complicated thing, but I'll remember it this time. And then you have set the loop over and over and over again.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
It's safe to say that that would drive me absolutely insane.
I feel like I'm just not the type of person that thinks about my future self very much.
Oh, interesting. You believe it to be like, I'm so in the present that I don't put weight on giving myself less burdens later on.
No, I think it's more like my future self is smart. I'll remember this. And then obviously
ego driven.
And then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, what the? And I remember when I was making the new password, I was like, oh my God, Joanna, you cannot forget this sentence. It is where you went to elementary school, plus the date of your first kiss, plus what that boy said to you after he broke up with you, plus the date of his birthday. And I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
It's putting a lot of weight that like the one password you're doing that for is going to matter so much to you. But as you've already discussed, every time you're logging into an account, you do this loop and have to make a new thing. You're just going to goldfish brain it at a certain point and drop everything off.
Yeah, I am. And I know that like cybersecurity has grown increasingly more important, and we're all very vulnerable online, and it's like a very scary reality how many emails I've received where it's like, oh, your password has been shared, or like AT&T has been hacked and now they have all your information, or these hackers have all your information, which is like, no, thank you.
No, I prefer you did not. I don't know what a dark web is, but please don't sell it there.
Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared of the dark web. I just watched a documentary by this woman. She's an amazing documentary filmmaker. She's done so many documentaries that I'm obsessed with, including the Britney Spears one and a bunch of other like true crime shows. Her name is Erin Lee Carr. And she has a new documentary called The Fanatical, The Catfishing of Tegan and Sarah.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you remember this band called Tegan and Sarah. They were this like cool, queer, like very, I don't know, like alt rock band.
I know Tegan and Sarah because I'm a good ally.
Oh my God, look at you. I know Tegan and Sarah because I would go to basement parties and they'd be playing.
So you actually consumed it on occasion.
Basically, someone catfished as Tegan from Tegan and Sarah for many, many years. And this person somehow was able to hack into Tegan's email. She was able to get demos off where she saved her songs. She was able to hack in other people's emails. How, particularly in that time, which was, I guess, around like 15 years ago, the internet was sort of still new and cybersecurity was still a new concept. And like really complicated passwords were just like, it wasn't something we were thinking about top of mind. And this catfishing thing just like freaked me out. And I was like, what if someone did that to me?
I mean, it's super realistic that can happen. I mean, not that I'm shoehorning in things that I love into this, but this happens in pro wrestling a lot.
Wait. Tell me this. Wait, what do you mean?
Every like 2 months, I see a pro wrestler have to tweet out, hey, if you're getting messages like this, it's not me. I'm not talking to you in your DMs.
Wow.
Because there will be people that will pose as popular figures, and wrestlers are popular figures with vulnerable audience at times. They just start like a dynamic and a relationship with them, and then before you know it, they're getting personal information so they can hack them, or straight up exploiting them for money and the promise of like meeting them and all this sorts of stuff. And they're of course not the person, but it happens so often in this community, and all I ever think about is like, how could I ever be the mark that gets caught in this?
Wait, why
we talked about this with scams before. We've talked about scams before.
Yeah, but why do you think pro wrestlers in particular? Because like pop stars and all these other, big stars in our lives, I guess like we don't hear about it as much with them. Like maybe it does happen, but we just don't know about it. But
I think there is a friendly way that I could approach why this happens and a not so friendly way. I'll start with the friendly way, which is just saying that pro wrestlers are not celebrity the way actors are and the way musicians are. They are on like a smaller scale. So it's a little easier to ID the idea that they're talking to you.
That's a really good point.
Like, if Taylor Swift messages you, it's not her. But if it's, like, someone that you remember seeing at an indie show 4 years ago and, like, you tweet about them a lot or whatever, they might actually be responding, right? I think the meaner way to say it is that the audience that enjoys professional wrestling is not known for being the smartest.
Oh, I mean, they do think that the wrestling...
We're not here to talk about the idea that pro wrestling's fake and that it's okay.
No.
I will get very defensive.
I'm saying that maybe people that are able to suspend their disbelief a little bit while watching wrestling and enjoy this sort of like exaggerated, bombastic, kind of like not real performance might be more inclined to be like, oh, this is happening. Like this could be real.
They're more inclined to believe, oh, this wrestler I love shares my love of foot fetish and now we'll cash in all sorts of dollars. So you watch a documentary that is telling you about people that celebrity that you can acknowledge having it happen to. Do you then get a password manager, or do you just still like what's it gonna take
for me to get a password
to start
manager?
To start doing the work for your future self the way that you're IDing now that you're not?
Maybe something horrific has to happen. Like my mom's Twitter was hacked into and deleted. I feel like if something like that happened to me, I would immediately shift my ways. You know what? But I shouldn't wait for something dramatic to happen. I think that's a mistake. Maybe today.
Well, you should do it before the release of this podcast, which this will now make you a clear target for doxing. I just leave the door unlocked. I don't even know what happens sometimes.
I do change my password a lot, and if they're very, very long and complicated passwords, I just can't get into my I can't get into my things.
You know, the smartest person is the one who doesn't even know how to get in themselves.
I have a safe and I don't know the combination. So, you know what? You can torture me all you want, but you're not getting in there.
As a kid, did you have like secret code with friends or secret ways of communicating with them?
Yeah, we had it. Well, okay. In Spanish, there's a version of Pig Latin, and it's called cuti. I could never understand how to do Pig Latin. I think because I'm a little dyslexic, so I literally was like, I just don't know what letters at the end of each
Whoa,
word.
okay. So wait, what was this called again?
This is called cuti. It was easier than Pig Latin because it's just separating the vowel. Like instead of a mí me gusta comer, I like to eat. It's cuti a, cuti mi, cuti me, cuti gus, cuti ta, cuti co, cuti mer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've never thought about the idea that there were parallels to Pig Latin in other languages.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, Pig Latin is like a fake language that kids use to like quote unquote speak in code, but it's like taking the first letter. What is it again? Like,
oh God, now you're making me realize I don't quite remember Pig Latin, but I believe it's you take the first letter off of each word and then say a in between each one of them. So if I wanted to say my name is, it's like I a aim a.
I hate this. I can't.
Is a.
It's so hard for me.
Ris a.
Risse.
Yeah, Risse, baby. But it's like not a code. It's not like an actual salvageable coded language. It is just a thing kids do to be obnoxious when they're 6 and 7.
If they're smart enough to understand
if
how
they
that
can decipher
works.
it. But it's, okay, so there's this other one, though. You clicked with it better?
I click because it's almost like musical. It's just like that's it. But I realized that I was really good at speaking it. I wasn't good at understanding it.
Oh, yeah. So like somebody would talk it back to you and then you would really slow down the processing speed.
Yeah, but I think it is really funny how there's two groups of people that love codes. And I think it's like kids who want to have something that's just theirs and secret and like, you're my friend, so I'm going to tell you and no one else understands. And then also serial killers who have these codes like the, oh God, what was this guy's name? He was a killer in California who would send in these literal codes. Oh God, what's his name?
But he would send in letters that were written in code, right? That like you needed a cipher to actually break and determine.
Cipher. That's the exact word. Explain what a cipher is.
So a cipher is like you will get a letter or a document that is all scrambling letters and numbers. And the cipher is sort of like, and this is just my understanding, I don't actually do password cracking or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the cipher is like the key that sort of unlocks the gobbledygook and tells you if a letter is E, it actually needs to be like 9 letters over. And that's the actual letter it is, or stuff like that. It is the key to unlocking that code and being able to write down and transfer all of it. I'm sure I didn't letter of the law define that correctly, but that's what I mean in the context I brought it up.
His name was a Zodiac killer.
Only one of the most famous killers. What's that guy from California?
There were so many serial killers in California. It's psychotic.
Yeah, they all went there with a dream and left a nightmare.
Yeah. California nightmare. I thought I would be using ciphers and like Pig Latin and secret words and all, like way more.
Yeah.
In my life.
I wonder if that's like a boomer era thing. Like we grew up and got phones and texting right away, so that allowed you privacy, one-on-one communication that couldn't be like snatched super easily. And now like, you know, once you're 7, you're on Snapchat. I feel like it's kind of disgustingly scary.
That's actually so true. Yeah, and you have secret communication.
You have secret communication. You don't have to crypt. I mean, if anything, kids learn how to use Signal and stuff, so they don't have to like even have it traced back. But older generation didn't have such luxuries, and so the passing of notes, leaving notes in places, it could easily be discovered, and you'd have to hide it in some way.
Wait, that's so funny. Don't you remember those news reports that were like, your teens are texting? These are what the emojis mean.
Yeah.
And then it was like a bunch of boomers who had like no idea what they were talking about. And they showed the smiley face and they'd be like, this means they want to get high. And then they'd show like the poop emojis, like this means they want to do crack because crap rhymes with crack.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, no, that's not what.
And they're all edited in those like stylized local news tropes of like, what are your kids doing out?
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like, you know, your local county's Herb reporter that is just trying to make a quick story.
They're like, God, we need to make a story.
I also think just like scarcity of resources makes you more creative about it. Like, you know, you didn't have many ways to secretly communicate. So you come up with ones that are more unique than now we just have a bunch of ways. Or like how, you know, like pornography is readily available to children all the time in a way that's also very frightening. But like, wasn't when I was a kid. You just had to go find it in the woods.
Wait, what do you mean find it in the woods?
Do you not know about the weird? Okay, so there's a very weird phenomenon.
Finding porn in the woods?
So there's a weird phenomenon. Where
my God, what the fuck is this?
There's a weird phenomenon that if you Googled now finding porn in the woods, you would see stories about
Google
people
this.
being like, I don't understand how it got there. But you would at times, if you lived with some like wooded areas around you, you would find spots where people frequented and just hung out away from prying eyes. They found like a little secret spot and it would like maybe have some logs or something like that. And inevitably, you always found porn mags and things like that at these like little spots. Because again, it was just like where teens were going and drinking and jerking off and stuff.
Wait, can I read this to you?
Please.
The pre-internet phenomenon of boys hiding their porn in the woods. So this is like from a first-person perspective. I grew up in New Jersey, blah, 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 blah. The land from the Lenape Indians in the early 18th century, from the wild woodland animals who would bask in the sun on the ridge. Tri-State Mayberry, famous for an old tree, and AT&T, and it's adjacent to the President's Country Club. What the fuck is this?
This is so much lamenting on the pride of the land, only to say, and then I left my penthouse there.
Yes. Then it's...
Did you just get tricked into reading a bunch of ad bait?
Okay, when I was 12 or 13... this is the worst written article I've ever read in my life.
I love it. Author name, put them on blast.
We'd walk the train tracks like the kids from Stand By Me, sipping warm bottles of Guinness, pilfered from his parents' garage fridge. We'd smoke Newports, crouch behind a particularly large pine tree, stubbing out our smokes on its trunk when we'd see our parents pull up. But mostly, we'd look at tits every day. Between marathon Mortal Kombat sessions on pages of warped porno mags we had stashed under rocks and inside holes in trees.
You never wanted to get caught with the stuff, so you'd leave it out in the woods.
That's so funny.
But then that became this communal resource that you had, it's like a lot of those little libraries that you see.
Those like, take a book.
Yeah, but instead it's just a crunchy magazine in a tree trunk.
Oh my God. You know what? I think those days are over.
You would have to find a generation that was interested in a nostalgia of a time that they didn't live in.
Isn't it funny that our reality is so disturbing that now I find it kind of charming?
I think it's very charming.
Like the Boy Scouts would be like, Mom, we're going to go camping. And it's just, they're just searching for tits in the woods.
Now I'm just imagining like one of those scenes in a movie where a kid gets lost in the woods and they all go 2 by 2 with like lanterns in the night.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're on a tit hunt.
Yes.
You call it out if you see it.
Oh my God.
You know what other password I thought I would be doing a lot more of? I thought I'd be doing a lot more knocking on doors and having to say a password to get into a secret place.
That's very true. I've only done it once, and it was for a speakeasy. It was a speakeasy on the Upper East Side, and I didn't read the instructions. It was an ice cream shop, and then they opened the door in the back, and they're like, "What's a secret word?" And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "What's the secret word?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Please?" And he was like, "No." He was like, "Bro, fucking."
I'm trying to help you.
What's the secret word? And I was like, let me look at my Yelp. And he's like, oh, fuck, it's sprinkles. Just say sprinkles. And I'm like, sprinkles. Welcome to the speakeasy.
Yeah,
so it's more of like a workaround that wasn't necessary. Like it was just for fun. Like you clearly didn't need to know the password. The man told me the password.
We're faking the need for those things again, just to make somebody feel something. Because in Prohibition era, you needed those.
Right. Okay. Explain that.
So in the time when we couldn't drink in the States, it was the Prohibition era and where all booze was outlawed, but yet people still drank and they would go to speakeasies built into businesses that already existed. And then if you knocked on the door and you knew the password, you could get in and go drinking or gambling in like the back rooms or sometimes the business entirely was like a facade. And so speakeasies as we have them today is just reaching back to say like, wasn't that neat that like it's here, but it's not here.
Isn't it so interesting that we as a people, we go through something like Prohibition where people were being placed in like prisons for having alcohol. There was a black market for alcohol. It was like quite a dark time in our history. Yeah. And then we're like, oh my God, I miss those days. Let's make a fake one in the Lower East Side. And
it's connected to a hot dog place and you've got to go in the phone booth to get to it.
I don't know what it is about looking to the past with like rose tinted glasses that make the trials and tribulations of the past look like something you want to emulate. It's like weird.
Well, is it disrespectful that we take only the parts that are like kitschy and fun and leave behind all of like the motivation and reason why they needed to happen? I don't know.
No, Chris, I think I'm okay with speakeasies not having cops coming in and beating us down and throwing us in prison. I like having a little quirky cocktail in the back of an ice cream shop.
Maybe what I want is like the hardcore speakeasy. I want the one where I do have the threat of arrest. And that's like the actual thing that'll make me feel good. Oh. Wouldn't you have a blast getting drunk, knowing that fake cops might bust in, and then you might have like a fake Tommy gun shootout like the 1920s?
I think you overestimate my desire for more anxiety in my life.
I guess I am assuming you're an escape room person.
I love escape rooms, Chris.
Well, I know, but like escape rooms, they're not very immersive. It's always like, welcome to ancient Egypt, and now here's a Jacob's ladder toy that will tell you the clue. Have you read about Tesla? He's got a puzzle in here. It's like they're always a hodgepodge of shit. They're never like, I'm fully stuck in it.
I love escape rooms. I think it's the only time I actually use concepts like passwords or like puzzles and whatever in an active way as an adult. And it's,
totally.
And it's also just like I paid to do it.
The people that work at escape rooms feel like all they actually do with their earnings is go to see other escape rooms. Like they're really living the lifestyle.
Yeah.
But you pay them, you go, and you get locked into a room that is usually not ventilated enough.
No.
And then you get 1 hour to
solve the little riddles.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a riddle. I love a riddle.
Do you go to escape rooms though when you don't have an event to celebrate? Like I went recently for a bachelor party. So it was like, oh, the excuse is we need to do something with like a group of people. But do you just go to go?
I've gone to gone.
Yeah.
Gone to gone? I've
gone to gone, baby.
No, I have gone. And I've our mutual friend, Danny Vega, and my friend Sam, I tried to convince them to do a 3-person escape room, and then they vetoed it. They said absolutely not. So I don't have escape room friends, and I feel like it is a very particular type of friend.
It's hard to find those friends and also want to talk to them after the escape room.
Yeah, I just did an escape room recently where a person I thought was smart was the dumbest human being. Like, and I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, get out of town.
You are judging the person that agrees to come with you to the escape room. You're value judging them as their worthiness to the party at the given time.
Well, I'm not going to invite.
The definition of looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Well, I was just like, this is not a person I want in my escape room in the future. Like very easily frightened and like scared. And I'm if you can't tell, these are, Halloween decorations. This isn't actually a haunted mansion. Like,
I just like the idea that you love escape rooms and also you want to show up cynical.
Well, I love escape rooms, but I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I'm very good at them because my ADHD, like, it makes me good at not focusing on one thing at a time. So I tend to like solve a bunch of shit at the same time. But I'm not good at any number things, like anything that's like an equation or whatever. So I have friends that are good at math, and I like inviting them to escape rooms.
Yeah, because you want to supplement your weaknesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is like when you're making a team for trivia, and you're like, that one knows music, and this one knows sports.
Yes, precisely. It's almost like I'm going to war.
Sure.
I'm going to war.
It's just you're not a person that I've ever seen do organized sport, so it's funny to see what you will competitively put yourself against.
I hate organized sports.
But like escape room, you're just like, fucking nut up or shut up. It's time.
It's nut up or shut up.
Break into the vault.
I love disorganized sport, like just going out and running. But then the moment it's like, there's a run club, I'm like, get the fuck out of town.
What do you think? What do you think that is? What are you pushing up against? You don't desire for it to be forced upon you. You want it to be spontaneous.
Well, I think exercise is something I see it almost since I'm unable to be mindful and meditate and all that shit and journal. I just I just have too much energy. Exercise is the one time I get that.
Yeah.
And if I'm too concerned with people around me, I no longer enjoy what I'm doing.
I see. You're forcing yourself into a bliss state. And when you have to like be a part of other people's business, it ain't blissful anymore.
I love that you're like, oh yeah, you running, you're trying to get to a bliss state. That's so California of you. Like,
it is.
I'm just trying to sort of like vibe. You know?
I'm just saying it's like the only way that you'll sit still in your thoughts is if your muscles are bursting out of the seams and you're sweating your ass off.
Wait, when you came and stayed over at my house, did
Yes.
I have the little treadmill?
You did have a little treadmill.
Okay.
Joanna has a treadmill in her living room with no railing, like no safety apparatus to support somebody on it, that you just turn on and you walk on when you're just watching TV.
Because I can't just do one thing at night. I can't just watch an episode of something and not be like doing something else. It like helps me focus. It's sick. I'm sick. There's something wrong with me, and I accept it.
Well, it's diagnosed. It's called ADHD, and it's not
That's
wrong.
true.
It is just the way you are.
It's just the way you are. When Lady Gaga sang Born That Way, she was also talking about me. The word is in the word
The
password.
word is in the word when we pick the word on the Can I Have a Word?
The word is in the word password, which in itself is a word.
Yeah, and it's a clue.
Wait, I'm going to try and speak in code to you right now.
Oh, this will be fun. Okay, go for it.
Okay, wait, I have to make the code.
Yeah, well, I have to now know the code.
No, I want you to guess the code.
Oh, I see. Okay. Come up with a
Okay,
code.
wait. Oh my God, this is so hard, Chris. Wait.
You put pressure on yourself for this. I did not ask this of you. You know, like a lot of people do this for their job, is what I mean.
Okay, maybe a riddle. Maybe like a riddle.
Okay, depends on the password thing. Just try a riddle.
A gal.
Now I know you're like in tights at a bridge, like dancing around and trying to make me answer something
I'm a
fast.
bridge troll. Okay. A gal with 2 large black ears. Wait.
You know, it's going to be important for you to think to the future on this one before
No.
you say the first line to know what you're trying to get to at the end.
Okay, wait. Oh my God, wait. Let me start over. Can I say what I was trying to say?
Please.
Like my headphones.
Yes.
I was trying to say
with 2
me
black ears.
with like these enormous like it looks like Mickey Mouse type ears. But
Yeah, sure.
okay, that didn't work. Okay.
That didn't work out.
Let me try it again.
All right, here we go. Take 2.
A friend you had years ago, you created a ruse to talk. That person liketh and potentially will utilize a reflective screen to press buttons and summon a paper bag arriving to her door that has kutitay.
Oh no, you threw that zag on me.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the solve for why? There wasn't a question in that.
No, now you have to decipher it. What did I say?
Oh, okay. Do you remember what you said?
I remember exactly what I said.
Okay, great. A friend that you made up. So me.
No, me.
You.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to tell me right away. Let me speculate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm ruining
All right,
this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, for pretend I said nothing.
You ordered DoorDash?
And what did I order?
Oh, I was making fun of you by that point, so I didn't catch the actual verbiage you said for the food.
Kutitay.
Oh, pad thai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Are we geniuses?
I mean, I solved it.
I made it up on the spot.
I think in this scenario, the fact that I solved it quickly suggests that you didn't do a very good one.
Okay, fine. You try it. You do.
No,
you try
I
one
do
on me.
not.
No,
I would
you
not.
try one on
I
me.
would draft one and bring one next week. How dare you?
draft
ask
one.
me.
I'll give you 3 minutes to draft.
What are
one,
you
little
trying
bitch.
to? So what? You want me to do in riddle voice?
Whatever the fuck you want.
Oh my gosh, this is.
I'll give you 3 minutes. I'll give you some minutes. This
This is so much pressure.
No, yeah. See, because you, I don't care sounding dumb.
You're an improviser. I'm not.
Well, you got 3 minutes, baby.
I got 3 minutes to come up with a riddle while also making interesting radio.
Well, I mean, I can go grab a glass of water while you do this.
Oh, you want to take an actual break?
I wouldn't mind. I kind of am really thirsty.
A few minutes later.
I have a riddle for you.
Bring it on, bro.
I speak without a mouth. I travel without legs. I bring voices to your ears, but leave no footprints behind.
This is a podcast?
Yes, that's a podcast.
Oh my God, am I a genius?
You're so good.
Guys, invite me to your next escape room.
Wow, that was very good, very clever.
Yeah, that was clever for you because it references what we're doing.
That might actually be the fault of how it was so easy. If I was to grade it, I would say maybe that makes it a C-, but
we cracked a code, and that's all we want. And you know what? I think now we are going, maybe, potentially, who knows, maybe in the future, I don't know. Oh my God. I forgot to tell you about a crazy thing. But, you know.
Is it not podcast worthy? Can you tell me?
It is podcast worthy.
Great. Tell me.
It's a little wackadoodle story.
Great.
I'm listening to a podcast about basically hackers. Hackers are just like password crackers, like on crack. They're crack password crack. They're cracker password. They're cracker passwords. They're crack password crackers. What?
God damn it.
No.
Are. You're shorting out.
We can't. Nope. Okay. They're pass. You know what it is. Anyway.
Yeah. Working at Cracker Barrel.
So there are these hackers. They got into a website called The Kill List. And it's a website where these people would be like, hey, I want this person killed. Like, how much do I have to pay? And basically the creator of this website never planned to kill on anyone and would just like steal money from these people that wanted to kill people.
Nice.
And this journalist hired this hacker to find out who this person was vis-a-vis this website. But not only that, who the users were. Who the users were that were asking to have people murdered, and then reached out to their victims. Whoa. So this journalist, like, you hear him call these victims like, hey, there's someone that wants you murdered. And most of the time it's women. And most of the time the women are like, yeah, that's my ex-husband. Like every single time.
It's like, nah, no big.
They talk to the Swiss woman and they're like, are you scared? And she's like, not really. I mean, he lived like 3 blocks away, and if you come kill me, he killed me. I don't know what to tell you. and the journalist's like, so you're telling me this isn't really bothering you? This isn't like stunning information? She's like, no, whatever. Anyway.
Wow.
But I find it really remarkable that like you have these people on the dark web, and then you have members of the dark web that are like agents of good. They're still like agents of chaos. Like they're still like in the dark web. They're hackers, but they're like trying to do good. Like anonymous.
Hackers inherently are not quote unquote evil. They're just people that like to break things to see how they work.
Do you know that the day of the Venezuelan election, when they announced the results, I think it was anonymous, hacked into Nicolas Maduro's phone and found out his WhatsApp number and published it.
Nice.
And he got like hundreds of people like literally sending him all like everything you can imagine, and he had to like discontinue his WhatsApp.
On the plus side, I'm sure he wouldn't have to look for porn in the woods anymore, because he would have just been sent a lot of vulgar imagery right away.
That's exactly what he was sent, with him starring in it.
Probably. Oh, that's good. He got some deep fake stuff.
He got some deep fake. I mean, I hope he did.
Well, God willing. Is there a future profit in making deep fake Maduro porn?
No, I don't think anyone ever wants to see that. I think people would be like, I'll pay you to actually remove this.
Yeah. I'll pay you to remove this from the capacity to imagine of the minds of everyone. I don't ever want anyone to imagine that.
Not even the option of imagining.
No. That level of alchemy could never hit.
No.
Don't ever let that happen. I always thought there was like a secret password in confessional.
Isn't there a secret password in confessional? Isn't it like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned?
Well, that's like the starting statement, but I feel
like. But what if you just go in there and you're like, yo, what's up, Father? Do you think he'd be like, fine with you?
I mean, I don't know. Are you going to like a modern church or something?
I'm not going to any church, Chris.
I'm not. I've never go to church. So that's why I always thought there was something secretive happening in there.
I think that you do have to start in a certain way.
But imagine if there was like a false wall and then you opened it up. And it was like, oh, this is where fun church is.
I can't imagine that.
You can't imagine fun church? Yeah, I think we're the wrong crowd for this bit.
I had a Catholic grandma. And I remember there was a time that my Catholic grandma was like, you're Jewish, but if you want, you could also be Catholic. And that's true.
She brought out the pamphlet and started to pitch.
But then I went to church with her, and I was terrified because it was just like blood and like a man on a cross. And like, as an adult now, I'm like, oh, I understand the symbolism and the why. But as a 5-year-old, I'm like, why I go to temple and it's just like a little star. And then I go to church, and there's a man being literally tortured on a wall with thorns. And I'm like, what is the crown? And she's like, oh, those are thorns. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor man, I don't want to be here. And I was terrified of Jesus's. My mom would have to cover them in my grandma's house. My mom would have to like literally cover them or put them.
That's
I couldn't.
Funny.
I was so scared of Jesus. I was so scared of Jesus. And he didn't do anything to me. It's not his fault.
Arguably, he did many things for you.
I mean,
if that's your vibe.
If that's your vibe, that you
He certainly didn't do anything to you.
He never did anything to me. But I was so scared of him because he looked so scary. And when I'd go to temple, like everything was in Hebrew. So I just disassociate.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then in church, it'd be like all the horrible things that were done. And I'm like, I can't sit through this. I'm so sad. So she didn't do a very good job of convincing me.
Not at
all.
all.
And I think that those people that go around the world, what are they, missionaries?
Yeah,
I feel
missionaries.
like they're more successful because they're like, oh, we're going to build a school. Here's a book. But they don't go straight to like the most,
hardcore imagery possible. Yeah. It's funny that you tuned into that because the times I did go to a church as a kid, I don't remember tuning into the violent part of it at all. I just always saw a man on a cross and I was like, got pretty good abs.
Okay, so you were jealous of Jesus. I was scared of Jesus, and you were jealous of Jesus.
And especially now, because the car's lost its shine a little bit over here on these parts.
Are you talking about your body as a car?
Yeah, I'm just saying I've gotten a little loose in the waistband, and Jesus never did.
Jesus never did, but I don't think it was because of choice, Kris.
No, but it was because of lifestyle.
But I don't think he was like, I'm gonna go on a no carb diet. I think he was like, I've been on a cross. I've
been on a cross.
I've had to actually been using my core.
I may be able to turn water into wine, but wine is not good caloric intake.
If they had a picture of the Last Supper instead, I'd be like, bro, sign me the fuck up.
It's like a golden corral in here.
And everyone's hanging out, having a great time. People are whispering to each other.
A lot of whispering. Everyone's looking at that guy a little suspect.
But you know what? There's drama.
Yeah.
You put that in the front of a church when I was 5, and maybe, just maybe, my life would have been a little
Maybe
different.
that would have been the code that cracked this wide open.
Maybe that would have been the code that cracked my Catholicism.
Instead, you're just Jewish.
Get what you get.
It felt like you were trying to start another riddle there.
I was about to, but then I was like, I actually don't want to say something.
I don't want to say a very Jewish riddle.
Sometimes the Shlomo is your Gomo. You know?
Goodbye, Joanna.
Goodbye, Kris.